Good evening, traders. This is Mike Rabinowitz from MR Strategies on Monday night, the 19th of April, with a summary of today's trade and analysis and points of interest for tomorrow's action. Um, Today basically really set the tone early in the morning and they kind of lulled you, myself as well. I mean, you can see right here they fell short of the pivot, which I expected them to get, but I think that was a gap fill from what was left from Friday session. I don't think we ever got up to it. So they took care of that business, and it really looked like they, at least early, were going to roll. And they basically, right at 9 o'clock, which is always a key moment in early morning session, they just rolled them. You had a double top right here. I was pretty much lulled to sleep with that one. I expected the pivot, and look at the results. Off they went, and I hesitated, felt, you know what, I'll get the next trade, and my goodness, 20 handles. They don't get any better than that. And this low down here of 55 is going to be a point of interest for tomorrow. And I want to show you here. You can see where 55 was a bunch of resistance after we made lows. We had a hard time getting through it, and you can see they were lows earlier late in the week last week as well. So it's always valuable to pay attention to these little areas. And the next trade that really came into play was this one right here. This is a sign that already we established the fact we're under the moving averages. You had that hard smackdown. They came up one more time up to 64, which was just right at S1, and they set up a beautiful lower pivot high. And you understand that the trades that I'm taking here and that I am trying to share with you not only are location trades, but you know, the platform Quick Pop plays it out this way, and I'm fairly certain that if you have any other platforms, it's fairly similar in terms of the turns. But in regards to my strategies and trades that I like to call out, and the trades that I think are highly successful and have the least amount of risk, are the location trades. And this market is a little overdue for some pullback. And right here was a great opportunity to get short right after that hard bounce off the 20 plus handle break to 55. They got them up here, a nice 10 handle rally. And I tell you, a lot of times they come in increments of 10 handles, 55 to 65. And then right away they showed you weakness. And this is a classic S1 reversal breakdown to the downside. And this is a short you absolutely have to take. In my book, the first failure from an level with confirmation is a trade you should take. And this entry should have been around 61 even or better. And you could just see the results were just phenomenal on that one. You could have pretty much just closed your eyes and picture your exits. Great multi multi contract trade. That's why I like the areas. I think it gives you opportunities to scale, put on a 2 or 3 lot and scale them. Wonderful trades. And that was followed. And here, once again, a hard break down to S2, area to area. And what do you know? Another hard turn, red to blue. Once again, this is a strong indication on this platform. You notice how a normal turn is a moderate yellow bar followed by confirmation with a red bar. This is so strong that it's red to blue and all she wrote going back up. In fact, I did take this trade here as well. I took this long once again. Area. You're in a bull trend extreme. This is S2. You have to look for the opportunity for this thing to reverse, and it did. And this entry should have been around 52 or better, and you would have once again would have paid out quite nicely. And for the beginner trader, it's all about the short-term exits, 52 entry, get yourself out of 54 and move on. Although, you can see momentum here, never gave up. You pretty much could have just played your stop accordingly. A 52 even entry or a 51 and change entry should have had you at about a 49 even sell stop, and it never challenged it. Two for two. So that's basically it. The rest of the day they chopped around and didn't do much for hours. And then they gave you one last breakdown, and here you got this double top at 61, a little shy of S1. And this was another wonderful short to take. Here, the market tried desperately to get going, and they couldn't even get moving. They struggled. And once again, we're under the MAs. So we know the pressure on prices to the downside. It's under the 15 MAs, so we know that already. We know that there's going to be no interest to the upside until it starts challenging 62. And you can see they couldn't get over 62, which so happened to be S1. You can see it right there, 62. We couldn't get over it. And then we rolled down, and this is actually kind of interesting because uh, we bottomed out at, well, this time it was at 47. And interesting, let's take a look at this because I felt that this market was set to maybe fill that gap, which I showed you here is from right here, this 42 area down to about 24, 25. I'm actually quite surprised we stopped, but it's a bull trend extreme. Maybe, Monday it's a little early. Maybe it'll take another attempt at it. I don't know. This market is just so bullish, and you can see how this played out. Another red to blue hard turn. This is another long opportunity. I did not take this. I was looking for a further breakdown. I mean, when the market trends like this, I tend to look for the lower pivot high and short opportunities because price is telling me that they're struggling to rally, and the trend is to the downside. So, unless I get something significant, and here is a uh, another double bottom opportunity long. I mean, once again, there's endless opportunities in terms of entering the market. It's all about what works best for you and your style of trade. So, but I think what's important is that you don't always, I know we have this bull trend extreme, but you got to understand you're going to make money from both sides of the market. In fact, it's quite gratifying when you actually can take the counter trend short positions off a bull trend and still make money. It says a lot about you as a trader, and it's confidence. And here's another double top, and I emphasize the double tops. And look at this one once again, 55. So you're going to want to watch this area. I think it just so happens that here the market rammed down to 42, and quite surprisingly, it held. And they couldn't even get down to S3, and the trend on the day was pretty much down, and they couldn't get. And 55 was just above the MAs and gave you one last sell off, like they were going to roll them one more time late in the day, and they didn't. They just ended up marking them up, and they held them up. And in fact, I think they ran them up fairly decently. And we're going to just have to see how this plays out tomorrow. This thing got as high as 66. I'm showing. Is that no? It couldn't be. No, I'm tired. 56. So you can see we kept topping up here. So I think that's the number, and it just so happens to be tomorrow's daily pivot. So you're going to want to watch how the market reacts to that price point. That will be settlement. Is We're gapping higher right now. We're about 700 points higher right now overnight. You can see you got these buyers right now, institutions for the most part are in play. I mean, I don't know how much volume there is right now, so I don't take much in the overnight sessions. But the pivot is going to be relevant, so you're going to want to watch it. And I think the next big number will be 72. which is R1. And you can see that's where it failed here. And a double topped here earlier at 74, the previous overnight, which we never got to. We topped out at 72. So, areas of interest for tomorrow's trade. How will we react? If we gap and you get up there around the 72, 74 area, I would look for the possible uh, retracement and reversal. But let's just see how this plays out. The market is still really strong. This is the early wedge right now. We're actually challenging it, but it's too early in a session for these trend lines. This is a pretty good one right here. So I don't know if this is going to stall overnight. You're just going to have to wait and see. And we'll see how this thing plays out tomorrow. So this is Monday night's analysis. Hope you guys had a pretty decent trade today. There were some really good pattern trades. Worked out well. They all worked out around the areas, which is just great. It was what I emphasize. I think they're excellent opportunities to get on board and get really good returns on your trades. You just have to execute, put your stops in, and let these trades play out. This is why I emphasize these locations, and I think the more you spend time looking at it, you owe it to yourself. Even if you're new to the game and you want, this is a really great way to attack the market. So, once again, this is MR Strategies on the 19th of April. And let's get this week rolling and make some money, guys. Take care. Have a good night.